Good evening, everyone. This video is going to be a trading review and support session for June the 8th, 2022. So we're going to start with how we traded today. We'll come back over and look at the higher probability kind of trades and progress to talk a little bit about the new self-adjusting dollar position stop I'm working on. All right, so let's take a look at when we entered into the morning, what we were looking like. So we ended up down, right? And we were down a little bit, I believe, when we started this morning. So it actually ended up being kind of an inside day today. So, but in terms of how the market did all day long, we take a look at the big picture. It really wasn't moving too much. Sorry, wrong day. Really wasn't moving too much, moving around. So it had problems getting, beyond yesterday's close. So we closed up in here, closed near yesterday's high, and it had pulled back down to the pivot point right around the open, and back and forth. Didn't hang in there for the afternoon though. So later on, it got down pretty steeply beyond the pivot point and then back down. I did not trade anymore today. Had some things going on, so which is too bad because definitely was some more opportunities to be able to trade today. So let's kind of go through. So here is this dive here, right after the open. Here's the pivot point. So there's the dive to the pivot point during the first 3 minutes, and I was surely today, right? Was the day that it behaved well in the first 3 minutes, and I did not take any trades there, and then it bounced right back up, and this was a counter trend kind of a move when it was bouncing back up. So I did not, stick my neck out essentially and take that. We were long away. It was running kind of away from the 3 minute close, and we talked about this formation a little bit. You don't necessarily see it. It is kind of a reversal kind of a formation, but you don't necessarily see it right at the first 3 minutes. It's usually a little bit later on. But it comes down and the both flexes are there, and then it jumps over both of them with an expansion. So you can see this is much bigger bar than recent, right? And they jump over with expansion. It is running away for 3 minute moving average. So if for instance you had been short, right, during this time, like you pushed the short limit, this is certainly a sign to not try to fight that trade, in my opinion. So, but it was neither one of those was the case. I didn't take it long, and was not short from before. So didn't trade the first trade until, well, I mean, the first entry, was it had such a kind of a velocity to it on the recovery that I did kind of push this entry, right? Wish I hadn't have traded that one, I think is what I commented on this morning. So I made that entry kind of going into VWAP and the volume point of control. Not really great. Added to it here as it seemed to be holding at the 3 minute moving average and the EMA, and ultimately it took a bit, but I was out back up in here, and then didn't take it early, right? So may have been talking, but anyway, took the second entry pretty late, right? But took it anyway. Added to it here, and then added to it one more time and out here. So again, it's kind of wild, a little bit wild. In terms of what it was doing this morning, and a little unusual. So, anyway, first couple of positions done and out. then kind of coming in. Let's say, don't think I traded. And then I was behaving myself. So it didn't trade in the first 3 minutes, and the market behaved itself. Didn't trade after the push time frame, and the market behaves itself. I guess that's just kind of like the story sometimes, but that's the way it went. And then I did take one trade during the push, right here, right. So and then got out here. It was a little bit before 6:55, but I did take that trade. Everything was kind of coming together a little bit. I was running away from the 3 minute moving average. I mean, excuse me, the 3 minute close and the flexes, and it was in the direction of the EMA. So that was a good trade, and then nothing else. Here's 7 o'clock news at 7. That's already starting to sell. News at 7, was no big deal on the news, but they were kind of doing a position reversal up here from the all session high, right? Running away from that 3 minute close. Got the next 3 minute close at 7, right? And there's still big bars to the downside, right? So got that trade to the short side. Didn't want to push it any further by taking another trade into the fast zone. And then now we're in the fast zone and just kind of waiting till we do something. And probably is a little bit late here. So I waited. Until it kind of cleared VWAP and even the close, and took a trade here. We'll talk about the blue triangles or blue rectangles in a moment. Right? Didn't take a counter trend trade here until it had once again kind of cleared the 3 minute moving average. It looked like it was still going pretty good. So again, probably well, I wouldn't say necessarily late. I just wanted to make sure it was clearing some things, and it did. And I got out of the trade before the fast zone. So adding to profits here. I'm not going for a lot of profit today. I think I started with 5 ticks. And let's see. Now we're kind of in the fast zone. One more trade. Didn't trade a whole lot today. I was also kind of debugging the watching the new stop strategy. So again, kind of coming down through here. We're in the fast zone. Cleared the fast zone. So I held my breath a little bit and took a trade here. Since they had broken down, right? Buyers didn't come around, so the sellers finally did. And so I took this trade and got out. And that was the last trade of the morning. So I was up 10 points, which is certainly doesn't break any records, but it's not bad. Could have traded a little bit more. And once I get this stop, kind of under control, I think it is, but I gotta get used to it a little bit. Then I may be trading some more. All right. Any questions on that? I'm going to come back and take a look at the blue rectangles. Okay. There was, if you're going to take a trade in the first 3 minutes, then there was actually one that you perhaps could have taken. Let me turn the time marker off to be able to see it, though, and then I'll turn it back on. So, I mean, here's all the time-based moving averages, right? And the EMA is stepping down. So, if you're going to do it, so this is kind of relatively early. I mean, usually, if you're going to do it, the first 1 minute is actually better than later on. All right. So for instance, if you'd done it here, you could have gotten the trade down to the Globex low and beyond, right? And then after that, really after the 1 minute, you should really be aware that things could be different. It may not follow through anymore. So let me turn the time marker back on. Right, too early to take a counter trend trade. So just looking for other things. Right, we'll come back up into this area, right? Kind of go through this area for a little while, right? Didn't want to take a trade into the 25% lower line, right? And so it finally does break up with more volume, waiting on volume, right? Here's an expansion followed by volume, kind of like letting it clear a little bit. So this is an area, you could have taken a trade and earlier than I took it and get out prior to the 2x200. As a result, I got in a little bit late and had to trade my weight out of it a little bit. Next one comes around is after the 6:45 time frame. We're kind of talking about this one, and I was already up some, and so again, it's kind of breaking through. It's above everything, kind of breaking through, and the EMA here, right, and the 3 minute close is down here, right, but it is breaking away. It had pulled back to the EMA here, right, so it is had hit and is pulling away from the EMA, right, and has some volume as well, two bar combination there, and then an expansion, and so all this area would have worked. Next one is here's the 3 minute close here, right? EMA is down here a little bit, but the 3 minute close is here, and it's still giving pretty consistent up bars, right? So maybe could have brought this rectangle down a bit. Let me so you could have potentially, let's see if I can grab it. You could have potentially taken it in the bar, right? I'll do that so it shows in the bar, and then goes back up. Since it is right on the edge. I mean, it's a minute into the coffee break time, but the velocity is pretty good. All right, and then coming into the push time frame, this is the trade that I did take. Right, again, um, the uh, the 3 minute close is here, right, and I did take it and got out up in there, breaking above yesterday's close. And here's the short trade that I took. A little counter trend, right? But it's got a really a rule of three. Um, and remember the old rule of two, rule of three. In this case, you had the moving the 1 minute close. There's one. Had the EMA right there, which is two, and then the flexes moving down. That would be three. So this would be a rule of three kind of a trade, which is makes it a little more worthy to take, especially in a on a counter trend basis. So I took that trade and got out. Nothing, not going to mark anything in the fast zones. Really, that's just kind of, those trades are more dangerous. But here we're breaking down out of the fast zone. We're kind of into the minute average, the 3 minute close here, right? Kind of pulls up, and then we get the expansion here coming on down. So again, I took the trades, sometimes I wait a little bit long, right, to make sure that they're continuing, and I'll have to look at that. But anyway, but took that trade, but maybe a little bit late. The formation was really about there. Okay, and as we go through, I took this trade, here, but it was never really, maybe, yeah, it's never really a consolidated, effort to push up. This was okay. 3 minute close. The EMA is here, right? Got expansion, right? So this is deserving of a triangle, or yeah, rectangle. Sorry. And then here, as I say, I was already done trading by this time, but I could have traded more. Breaking back down through the fast zone, right, in the EMA. The 3 minute moving average, or 3 minute close, is way up here, right? So it was running away from that, right? So it is in the right direction, but here it's just a rule of two, right, out of the fast zone. That would have worked just fine. Then it's doing a whole lot of nothing, waiting for it to do something. and here they're starting to hit it pretty heavily, right? And you could even say you could even say this area is a rule of three. You just need to wait a bit, in my opinion, to make sure they're breaking out of this low zone, right? The low zone is sort of in the 5 minute moving average basis, right? And then it goes down, right? Goes down further, right? Starts to consolidate. Here's the 3 minute close, right? Breaking down through the 3 minute close in the direction of the trend, right? So that's probably a pretty good trade. And I think there was more. Yep, up here, kind of narrowly breaks through the fast zone up in here. Kind of pulls back to the EMA, right? And we're underneath the 3 minute close here, but then it's running away from this area, right? But this is just the EMA. The flexes are still up here, and the 3 minute close is up here. So you can decide where you kind of want to do it. So the two bar combination, then followed by the expansion. So this is probably a reasonable area to initiate a trade in. And that's it. All right, I just marked it until we got to 8:30. So, so again, the what we used to call, I'll continue to call it this name now. I mean, we used to have these names back in the day, and it's at the rule of two, rule of three, with the most important things being the in terms of which direction the trade is moving in, is the 3 minute close and the EMA, and then of course with the expansion with the fluxes. All right, so that's kind of a review today. Any questions on that? Um, the title of YouTube for the support is if well it's on the website. So right now everything is easiest to get to on the website. So let me just bring it up. All right, so here's the website, and if you just go to the support sessions, right, then there by date, and if you just click on the date as you always, it just brings up YouTube this time, right, instead of um, the old server, video server. Still learning about YouTube. Had to play with it for a few days just to make sure I had settings right and that kind of stuff. So possibly could get a little bit more sophisticated with YouTube at a future point in time. Did I answer your question? I mean, my YouTube channel is actually called, yeah. Then just look for the date for the support session. I did add those other couple of months that you were asking for, so they're already on YouTube, so you can reference those as well. Yeah, I think it's easier to do that. Just indexing it from the the website instead of going to the YouTube channel itself, because I haven't really mastered how to do good navigations and that kind of stuff. I think it's just easier just to hit it from the website. But the YouTube channel is called Advanced Volume Trading. Um, but so far I have found it just the easiest. Instead of trying to open up YouTube, just go to the website and select your videos that you want to see from there. Anything else? I didn't talk. I kind of covered the new stop again today. Any questions on you know, I kind of went over briefly this morning what I would have done tonight. Any questions on the self-adjusting stop, Sean? I can do the kind of the same thing I did this morning. It'll probably be a few days before I make a video of it. Yeah, the video will show you how to set it up, and it's not even finished just yet. The strategy, the stop strategy, is not even finished yet, but it could be finished relatively soon. I don't know what else I would want to do to it for the initial release. Like I said, we might get more sophisticated with it at some point in the future, but probably not right now. So that'll be in the future video, which you definitely want to review a few times and make sure you got it set up right. All right. Anything else? Okay. Very good. All right. We'll see you in the trader room tomorrow morning, and have a good rest of your evening.